The person has no doubt that this is all coming from him, because he is experiencing it. After all, it is his thoughts, emotions, and bodily reactions. The person has a subjective feeling and experience of these psychosomatically generated reactions and perceives them as part of his own experience. The subconscious triggers these reactions to prevent the person from putting himself in stressful situations that could endanger his survival. However, it is also possible that these automatic reactions are no longer helpful and instead limit the individual's well-being. The person may remember being different in the past and does not understand why he cannot be the same again. It can often be that the person remembers a time when he had more self-confidence and self-assurance and wonders why he cannot be like that again. In this case, the blocked trauma and its effects on behavior and the subconscious mind may play a role. The person does not realize that due to his habitual programs and action control programs, he only has a filtered, limited perception of his life situation. Due to these programs, the individual's perception is limited, and he only has a limited understanding of his own life situation. These programs usually run subconsciously and are therefore difficult to recognize and change. The person is not aware that his behavior and perceptions are influenced by the action control programs, and that these programming represent a limitation of his perception and freedom. The subjective perception has changed. Due to the action control and habitual programming triggered by the blocked trauma, the subjective perception and view of current life and the environment has changed. The person now has a limited perception because he is only influenced by these programs. The person experiences only what the protective programs allow. The memory is filtered in the process. The memories are filtered through the protection programs, and it may be that certain parts are blanked out or changed to protect the individual from renewed stress or trauma. The memory may then be very one-sided, or only specific situations may be blanked out or blocked. When the subconscious mind takes control of perception to protect the individual from further stressful experiences, it can lead to certain memories being filtered or blocked. This can lead to a very one-sided perception, and certain aspects of the past can be changed or suppressed. It may also be that the person remembers the old situation only in a very distorted way. Sometimes he thinks he remembers something that was invented by the subconscious to justify the person's behavior. It is possible that the subconscious mind creates false or distorted memories to justify the person's current behavior and beliefs. Our brains often process information in ways that reinforce our current beliefs and opinions, even if they are not necessarily true. The more often the person uses the invented situation as a justification, the more convinced he is that this really took place. If the person uses the invented situation more often as a justification, there may be a reinforcement of the conviction that the situation really happened that way. This is an example of how the subconscious mind can create a distorted perception and a faulty memory. Man's consciousness remains basically unchanged, even though his behavior and reaction patterns are influenced by protective and habitual programs. He withdraws more and more into areas where he does not have to fear negative control programs. This means that the person tries to protect himself from the negative control impulses and looks for activities and environments where he feels safe and secure. This can lead to the person distancing himself from certain experiences and situations that used to be important to him or that he carried out. The person thus increasingly isolates himself from his environment. If someone constantly experiences negative control programs and avoids them in order to fight, he can become more and more isolated from his environment and alienated from social contacts. Brief summary. People feel their actions are right because they feel bad when they act differently. The subconscious controls the person's behavior and actions in order to avoid stressful situations that are reminiscent of previous traumas. The action control programs in the subconscious manipulate the person's perception and beliefs so that they feel their actions are right and do not question their behavior patterns. The feeling bad is triggered by psychosomatically generated control impulses that are part of the action control program. These control impulses are not the person's imagination, but are real experiences triggered by the subconscious. The person has a subjective feeling and experience of these psychosomatically generated reactions. It is possible that these automatic reactions are no longer helpful and instead limit the individual's well-being. The person may remember that he used to be different and doesn't understand why he can't be the same again.